The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Welcome to Old Space Show. I'm Brandon, and riding shotgun with me in this cool-ass talking car is Tony Schaab.
I can't believe it. We are just plowing through 1 mile at a time, and I think the exit is in sight for us here.
We're about to pull off the road this cross-country tour that stops at a lot of old Western towns. This series of Old Space Show, of course, follows the exploits of a man in his car, the first season of Knight Rider. Today, we're here to discuss episode 20, Night Moves.
Okay, so this one, a shipment of highly sensitive microtech electronic components is stolen near Albuquerque, New Mexico. And when Michael goes to investigate, he finds himself attracted to the cause of the Alliance of Independent Truckers, who have lost 6 shipments. He is also attracted to AIT spokesperson and lady trucker Terry the Tiger Callie. Oh, yeah.
All right, that's for later. Okay, this one is directed by Christian I. Nyby II.
Okay.
A lot of TV in that guy's directing career. Written by William Schmidt, starring David Hasselhoff, Edward Mulhare, Patricia McPherson, William Daniels, Yvonne McCord, James Whitmore Jr., Guy Stockwell, Lonnie Chapman, Taylor Lackner, or Lacker, not Lochner or Lochner like the kid from the Twilight movies. Sorry about that. Burton Gilliam and Catherine Butterfield. This, of course, is our Truckers in Danger episode.
Yeah, we gotta, as we move through this season, we gotta come up with just about everything on the road, every reason that we can have a car relevant to the story and be on the road so much. And we haven't hit the truckers yet.
Yeah,
now's the time.
We've had like a semi get attacked, but we've never been about the truckers themselves.
Yes, the episode from start to finish is very trucker centric. Yeah, even though this is about obviously the losing of the shipments and things like that, this is very much it's got that kind of labor independent contractors on the ropes kind of vibe, the death of the American dream, yada yada thing. So it's definitely got that kind of vibe peppered liberally throughout the episode.
Yes. So we got of course there's a big instance to open us up with one of them getting knocked off. And then, we have Michael magically having to explain CB stuff to Kit. Just so happens this week you're gonna be having to do with truckers.
For a smart car, he sure doesn't have a lot of this common knowledge at the ready there, but
for being on the road, a vehicle of the road doesn't know its brethren of the semi, but he's like, Michael's like, trucker's language, and Kit says, in other words, slang. Like, okay, Kit.
Could you sound any more condescending?
Right, yeah. Like, what you trying to imply there? But yeah, and then we get our Devin and Bonnie. We get from via video from Kit this week.
Yeah, we're getting into a little bit more as we progress in the episodes. Kit gets more and more like technologically advanced. I don't know if the insinuation there is that they keep upgrading him, or they just feel like, hey, we've got cool new tech that we can put on camera. Why not do it? My biggest question, of course, is who is in Devin's office panning the camera left and right to follow these guys around?
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Who's the lackey that gets stuck on that duty?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I didn't think about that. That's great. Oh, but yeah, they talk about, are they going to Chicago? There's Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to Chicago.
Of
course, Michael.
Michael wants, yes. He wants
best pizza in the world. Michael makes a statement. best pizza in the world is made in Chicago, Illinois, and he wants to bring back the deep dish. I'm like, you don't want him
of
to bring that
course,
back. Like,
no, right. You're
no.
going to New Mexico. How cold is it going to be when you get there, first of all? And then
Yeah.
second, of course, for as much as Kit is missing information on convenient plot points like CB,
Right.
now all of a sudden, of course, Devin on the flip side in human mode is missing information. Like he acts like he's never heard of a pizza before. He's like, "Oh my dear boy, what are these? This concoction that you speak of?" I'm like, "Devin, it's a pizza for God's sakes.
Yeah.
You live in the United States now. Come on, give it a rest."
Well, it's kind of like, yeah, that thing where like like I feel like in the 80s, like pizza was like a kid's thing sold as a lot of the times. Like it's and that pizza was, there was that, and then there was that the whole thing of like sushi is gross that went through in the 80s. You remember that?
Yeah.
Like, ew, sushi.
Oh, yeah.
And like the Ninja Turtles were grossed out by it. Like we were sold on like sushi's bad, and then all of a sudden it was like this turnaround in the 2000s. We're like, hey, I tried it, and it's not bad. It's pretty good. And
well, it's all obviously we all live and die by the preferences of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So
right,
in the
yes.
80s they hated sushi, in the 80s they love pizza. So
they're the
that's where it
epitome.
is.
Yes, they're the pinnacle of what
Yes,
happened there.
they are what society draws their lines by, the turtles.
Right. So Michael goes to investigate and infiltrate the AIT, the Alliance of Independent Truckers.
Yes.
And he starts his voyage at Nickel Beer Night.
Sounds so disgusting. Nickel beer night.
Nickel
I
beer.
remember in college penny drafts and things like that, obviously, but nickel beer night for real ass adults. Okay.
Yep. we had penny pitchers in college where I went. We had penny pitchers, and then another bar had dollar drafts, which was like to compete. It's like, well, our beer, the penny pitchers was because it was on a Wednesday, and then on Thursday they got their new shipment of kegs. So they were trying to take them all down. And the other bar, I don't think had the same thing. So their beer was better, but it was $1 for a draft, which I don't know, probably only need that. But penny pitchers, man. Yeah.
That's right. And what's the bar they went to for nickel beer? Was it called the TikTok? Is that what? Do I remember that?
Was that what's called? I don't remember.
I'm trying to remember what that bar was called, because Michael takes Terry dancing there at the end, and yeah, it's got some funky name. I'll have to look it up and see if I can figure it out. But it definitely has it had a weird timey kind of name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll go back and find it. TikTok would be funny, obviously.
That would be funny. But there's like, he meets Terry and her brother or whatever, and they're part of the AIT. And Terry's the girl trucker who gets hit on by, rudely by truckers, but charmingly by Michael. Like, how is he different than any of these guys?
It's a very strange dichotomy there. Yes, where it's like, and of course, this is, of all the ways that Knight Rider has shoehorned a female into the story, this is about the shoehorniest of shoehorns here. Like, we got a trucker going on here.
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
Well, she does. Her and Michael like to talk westerns together. Like, cause she's like, "Did you see the Alamo?" And she's like, "About 15 times. I like the Duke." And and I do love when he shows her Kit, and she's like, "Kit, kind of a dull name for a flashy car."
That's right. Yes, because first she says, before she knew it was the name of the car, he was trying to pretend like the car was normal, as he tries to do for like 4.5 seconds with everybody. And then she asked him what his TV handle was. So he panicked and he said Kit.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, that's it." That's kind of a dull name for a handle. So then later they came up with Hot Night.
Yeah, Kit
right?
thinks Hot Night is like the coolest one. I'm like,
right, Kit comes up with it.
like, nerds.
Oh goodness.
So yeah.
Yes, and the bar was called the TikTok. Yes, Michael says, when Terry said, when they're driving in the rig together, and Terry's like, "Oh, the last time I wore a dress was at my high school graduation." He's like, "Well, I'll tell you what, put on a dress, so I'll take you to the TikTok and we'll dance all night till the rooster crows."
Right.
I'm like, oh boy, God Lord, who's writing this stuff?
Right. We do have a surveillance mode from Kit. That's a thing we get here. And he gets picked up by like the sheriff, and he's like, "I ran a make on you and I can't find a trace of it anywhere." And Michael's like, "Is that against the law?" And the guy goes, "I'll let you know."
I'll let you know. Yes, another crotchety sheriff in town, of course. Is there any other kind?
There's a crotchety sheriff, and then there's the guy who's trying to buy out the AIT or have them go corporate or something. So there's
the guy comes in, the ostensible quote unquote bad guy of the episode, who's like, he's come and apparently maybe he attempted this once before, but now that they're in dire straits, he's come in and he's I'll buy your trucks at a fair price. And of course it makes us, the viewer, think, well, this is the guy that's obviously been hijacking the shipments because he's trying to run them into the ground. And plot twist, it's not. So
nope.
Writers are working hard to throw you off the case. So
right, Michael, this is kind of cool. We do have a mid-episode meetup where he gets that pizza or no pizza with Devin and Bonnie in the semi mid-episode. Usually that would lead us out in every episode, and we get to do it in the middle here.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic because it doesn't really explain who. So I mean, these guys must have a ton of time on their hands. They must have unlimited gas cards and the physics of the time of the episode. Who cares? Like, they're in Chicago, then I think it's implied that this mid-episode meeting is not in Albuquerque, because later they do come to Albuquerque. So did Michael drive to meet them in like St. Louis? They're driving literally all over the United States in a span of a few days.
It happens because the script wants it to happen.
I guess that's true. And they're, we have the technical throwaway that Kit can drive himself. So Michael could sleep while Kit is continuing to drive. So it's feasible. It just feels weird.
And Kit probably could pull some mode where he can drive really fast and not set off police radars. I don't know. We can make a head cannon to
listen. If Night Industries can afford essentially a mobile HQ in the form of a semi truck, like, can't we afford like a helicarrier? Can't we take this to the skies? Can't we put rocket boosters on Kit and really kick this shit up to the next level?
True. But Bonnie does take him next level and installs a CB radar tracker, which
she does.
Kit's not happy about. He says that he's like, trucker shorthand brutalizes my vocabulary banks.
Okay, well. All right. Sounds
elitist here.
Sounds a little, yes, that's right, Kit.
So there's Michael threatens the old man, starting the shit in order to buy out truckers. You think, he goes after him. We also have a big stunt of Michael jumping from Kit to a semi to take the wheel in a big action sequence later, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, we get more Michael jumping to and fro from things. He's jumped to a helicopter. He's jumped to a moving plane on a runway. So this, in the grand scheme, feels a little anticlimactic in terms of things that he's already jumped onto, but it's still very cool. So, and then later towards the big conclusion, we get Kit coming out of when Terry is driving the night rig. Kit comes out of the rig, pulls up alongside. Michael jumps in again from the cab, and goes rolling. So yeah, Michael gets his jumping on today. That's for sure.
Yes, he does. We get. There's big stuff in here. I mean, there's a car bomb that explodes in this when he's like, a woman at a diner tells him to take it easy on the old guy, and then he gets killed in the car bomb.
Yeah, so there was a lot. It's a pretty intense scene, and I was reading about it because it felt like, I was like, this is just kind of came out of left field. But I was reading, there was a lot of cut scenes from this episode. So there was a scene when Michael met Norma, the waitress, in a previous scene. So because he's very friendly with her in the scene, he's like, "Hey, Norma, can I get that coffee in the morning or whatever?" I'm like, who is this person? But yeah, she's seen essentially making out with this guy. And, like, okay. And there was another cut scene later previously that established them in a relationship. They were in their hotel room together doing what adults do in a hotel room. So yeah.
Okay.
So I understand why it was cut, obviously, but yeah. So, but then he just gets in his car, and in an early draft of this episode, he wasn't going to get into a car. He was going to go back to his hotel room, and the whole hotel, the side of the hotel.
They got the money for that.
no, yeah, who can afford that? So yeah, so
Right.
let's blow up a car instead. So, but yeah, it really came out of left field where he gets in and
Yeah.
Michael's like, no, because Kit, of course, realizes just too late that there's a bomb in the car and alerts Michael. And Michael's like, yeah, get out of the car. Just enough time for the guy to turn around and be like, huh? Before boom. So
Bam.
bye.
Yeah. Big time. Then Michael, like the people are gonna give in to this, but Michael convinces them to keep going, especially Terry. He's like, you think your father would have quit? You think Gary Cooper would have quit? Because they talk westerns. And Devin and Bonnie, of course, come to town and have sloppy joes. The locals push the sloppy joes at the diners.
Such a weird, maybe that's an 80s thing. I don't
Hmm.
remember sloppy joes being that big back in the day, but of
Yeah,
all the things to be excited about,
the sloppy joes.
maybe it was a gag on getting Devin to try as many Americanized foods as possible.
Right.
I don't know, because he's got his hat on. Devin loves to wear a 10-gallon hat, so he's got his cowboy hat back out. And in these last few episodes of the season, Devin and Bonnie engage in a lot of like open like deception, just like straight up lying to people in the public. Like they come to the Alliance of Independent Truckers and he's like,
Hmm.
I'm a hauler and I've got a big contract if you can just get one job done. I'm like, you just lie to these. I'm like, I
Right.
mean, the foundation probably could give them a contract, but that's not what he's saying. He's like, I own a company and we do runs between here and Denver. And if you can make it, then I'll give you a big contract. It's like straight up lying to these people. I'm like, I get
Hmm.
like the Robin Hood kind of aspect of like doing what you need to do to help people, but
Right.
it feels a bit disingenuous here.
A little bit. Yeah. So this one turns out it was the main guy Riggins the whole time behind it.
Plot
Oh,
twist.
yeah.
Look out.
And we end with a big stunt of Kit jumping through a van, and we have a big crane shot in the aftermath pulling back. I thought I was like, oh, Knight Rider, look what you're doing there.
That was a pretty cool shot. Yeah, he went plowing through that van. It's pretty cool. Like
Mhm.
you expect to see Kit, blowing through a truck that has pallets on the back of it, like general like non like dangerous to humans, but like yeah, the
Mhm.
bad guy is driving this truck and Kit just kind of plows through,
Right.
or this van, and he
It's a
just
van.
plows on through it.
It's
Yeah.
like one of those old school, like, like churches had them vans that
Yeah, it's like
they look suspect, but churches were driving around in them type things. Like
those extended
brown.
econo lines. Oh yeah, with the
Yeah.
captain's chairs in the back and the card table and the whole 9 yards
Yep.
and
And
the
of course, Kit
couch.
Kit bashes through it. It's like unfazed, like no damage to Kit. Like it's
Right.
great.
Well, of course, then as you see, after Kit screeches to a halt, and Michael hops out to get the dazed
Mhm.
driver out. Like it's like you could see it was like a truck bed that was carrying like that looked like the back of a van.
Plaster.
Like I mean,
Yeah.
it
It
was
was
like
like,
right, it was
yeah.
like paper thin, which makes
Right.
sense obviously
Yeah.
for stunt work, obviously,
Right.
but yeah, you do what you got to do. This is another one of those episodes where there was a point earlier in the episode where two guys were beating on Kit with bats,
Mhm.
trying to damage him. Two of
Yes.
the local
Yes.
guys, and that's all well and good. But then Michael came out, and one of them attacked him, Michael, and the other one went around the back of Kit to attack him, and Kit backs up to stop him, and you can clearly see the stunt driver
Yeah.
wearing his seat suit. So,
Yeah. Yes.
which I love. So
Yep.
they're doing what they have to do, but there are gas to be found. I've
Yeah.
also seen in these last few episodes, well, really throughout the entire second half of this season, the differentiation between Michael driving regular Kit
Uh-huh.
and then cutting to a very next scene where Michael's driving a Kit with a very clear roll bar on the front, or a
Right.
pull bar. Like I think they just gave up in the editing room. They're like, there's no way to keep track of this. Like whatever.
Mhm.
One scene's regular Kit, one scene's pull bar Kit. Like who cares? Who
True.
cares?
True. Yeah, I get you. I get you. So yeah, we get to the end tag, and Michael, he loves sloppy joes.
Oh yeah.
Cargo was easy to get back. Apparently, Riggins wanted to break up the AIT and set up an empire. The other guy was just unwanted competition, nothing to do with it. So we had a lot of exposition in the end to justify the twist of who the guy was. Michael and Terry go on a date till the rooster crows.
That's right.
Uh-huh. And she said, maybe if you asked her out, like or like some
Yeah,
guy, one of the guys hitting on her is like,
her brother, yeah, her
yeah,
brother said to the other trucker who's been hitting on her the
yeah,
entire episode, maybe if you asked her like a gentleman, you'd have a shot. And the
Yeah.
guy's like, you're probably right. Like
Right.
there has to be a valuable lesson learned through all this individually. So
Right. And then he's like, want a nickel beer? Who's buying? And then they have a good laugh. And then Kit corrects Michael on his CB language. Ha! The end. Like that was what it does. I have to say, we've been clowning this a bit, but I did enjoy this episode because I like the dialogue going on in this episode. Like it was
fun. It was kitschy.
Yeah.
Like it was designed. Like it's like intentionally kind of light and fluffy. Like obviously there are stakes. There's a lot of like rifle Gatling gun. There's a surprising amount of gunfire in this episode, but it's all like aimed at trucks. It's all very in the grand scheme, like non-threatening type of stuff. So
right, yeah. There's one Michael, the sheriff, like he's like, 1 minute you tell me to leave town, the next you tell me to stick around. I'm getting real dizzy listening to you, sheriff.
Real dizzy.
I was like, I was digging it. Like, there's one like, oh, looks like he's stopping in for more than a cup of coffee. Just some snazzy dialogue going on in this one I was enjoying. I didn't really care for like the story was like, all right. Though they did a good job of putting like 3 obvious people front and center who could be doing this. Like the guy who came to town trying to switch him over, the sheriff, and then the one guy that's in the shop that ends up being it was like, okay, yeah, but it's probably not him. And then it was him. Was a nice little bit of, rather than just one obvious person, he had 3. So that was a little bit of better writing on their
not bad. Like you said, they had to work a little harder at the end to justify the why behind it, but they got there. So.
Gotcha there. Okay. Well, Tony, let's shift gears and look on the sunset before we hit the horizon. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can come hang out with me. Spend a lot of my time doing some fun writing over at sciencefiction.com, where I am the senior editor. We do movie reviews, TV reviews. We talk about all things science fiction, fantasy, pop culture, all that good stuff. If you want to hang out with me personally, you can come find me on most of the social medias at Tony Schaab.
All right. Hashtag 10 Michael J. Or 10-4 Michael J. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at brand4kuhd. We're going to work on whysoblue.com. I hope you're enjoying these commentaries from Out Now with Aaron and Abe I've been putting on while I've been preparing the Summer of 93 at 30 episodes. Appreciate everybody checking those out and such. But we'll be back again next Wednesday with another Knight Rider adventure, but from old space.
Brandon and Tony, not so lone crusaders in a dangerous world. The world of Old Space Show.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at brandonpetershow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at brandonpetershow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.